Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to make a stewed pork chop or a smothered pork chop with tomato gravy, however you want to call it. We're using some boneless chops. This is going to be a good one. Stay tuned. So here I have my thick cut pork chops here. These are boneless, like I said. We just trimmed a little bit of the outside fat, but we left some of that interior fat that you see in there. It's going to cook down and it's going to be really, really good and tender. And you're not going to have to worry about it. We're going to season them up simply with some adobo seasoning, and we're going to use some Zatarain's Creole seasoning. That's it. That's all. It's going to be really nice and simple. So we're just going to give them a nice liberal coating on both sides with each seasoning. This seasoning is also going to help season up our tomato gravy during the cook. So, you don't want to go super, super heavy, but nice and liberal will do. If you don't have the Zatarain's, you can use your favorite Creole seasoning, or you don't have to use Creole seasoning at all. I just like it because it does have a nice little kick to it as well. All right, this is going to be a really simple cook, so I'm using an electric skillet today. I have a can of crushed tomatoes with basil. I'm using a bag of pepper blend, 3-pepper blend with onions, so you got your red, green, yellow peppers and onions, and then we'll have some chicken broth here as well. All right, so I have my skillet on medium-high, or in between medium-high and high, and we're just going to sear off our pork chops here, get a nice little color on them before we add in our tomatoes. I also forgot to mention that I am going to use some Italian seasoning later on in the cook. I forgot to pull it out, but that will be going in the dish as well. And again, we're just going to sear them off, get a nice little color on them before we add our tomato gravy in. If you don't have an electric skillet or you don't want to use one, you could definitely do this on the stove. I do that all the time on the stove as well, and it works out pretty much the exact same way. All right, guys, so we've got our chops all nice and browned up. Now it's time to go ahead and start dumping in our other ingredients. After everything else is placed inside the skillet, it's pretty much just a no bother type of cook. It's really simple, like I said, but it has lots of good flavor. So that's why I really like making this. So we're just going to put in a couple nice handfuls of our peppers and onions. If you don't have it frozen, fresh is always definitely better. I'm just being a little lazy today. So we added in a couple handfuls of our peppers and onions. Now we're going to go in completely with our can of crushed tomatoes. Now you want to go ahead and get as much of that in, or get all the whole can in there, and just kind of move it around in your skillet as best you can. Then we're going to finish topping it off with a little bit of chicken broth. You could actually use vegetable broth. You can use beef broth, whatever you got for real. You just want to make sure that you are using some type of broth or stock just to have a little bit more flavor. And all you really want to do is essentially have your chops covered for the entirety of the cook. So it doesn't take a lot, just enough to have them completely covered. All right, so I told you I was going to be using some Italian seasoning as well. This is when we're going to add our Italian seasoning into our tomato gravy. I'd say about a teaspoon or so in there. Then we're going to, like I said, bring it up to a boil. Turn that heat down a little bit and allow our chops to simmer until they get tender. All right, family, so our chops have been going for about 30 minutes now. I'm just going to check on them really briefly, and I'm going to flip them over. I like to try to flip whatever, if I'm smothering meat, I generally like to try to flip it if I can, just to make sure I have even cooking on all sides. So we're going to flip our chops over, and I'm going to take this time as well to taste our sauce, to see if we need to add anything to it. You could add a little sugar if you wanted to cut some of the tartness, but if you let them simmer long enough along with your seasonings, you really don't have to, but it's totally up to you. So we're just going to, like I said, we're just going to flip them, continue to let them cook, taste the gravy, see where we're at, see if we need to add anything, and then we're just going to let them go for another 20 minutes or so. Go ahead and get a quick little taste, see where we're at. And the flavor for me is outstanding, so I'm going to let it be. You could add whatever you like at this point for your own dish, but for me, we're good. And that's it, guys. That's our finished product. We let it go another 20 minutes or so. Got the pork chops nice and fork tender. Now we're going to go ahead and plate up a plate. I just have some plain white rice here and a vegetable to go with it. Some good old cabbage. I want to make sure I ladle some of that good old sauce over the top of my chop and my rice. And this is definitely one of my favorite ways to eat pork chops. It's so good, guys. So good. Hope you guys enjoyed. Follow these steps and you'll make a good recipe quick and easy that everybody will love. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Till the next time, God bless. And just look how tender that chop is. Money.